So we are going to be covering 3 points today, and we're going to be talking about the basics of marketing funnels. I know this probably language might be new to a lot of you on the call, which is totally fine. You will find out that funnels are a lot more simple than a lot of digital marketers really make them to be. So we're going to actually talk about 3 simple funnels that you can start implementing in your business today. This is where we see marketing funnels gone wrong, whether or not agents know that they're implementing a marketing funnel or not. This is where we really see issues arise and how funnels will kind of break down and not work as they're intended.
This episode of The Insurance Dream is brought to you by...
Up to now, I had not run into any company quite like Insurance Professionals that would do the kinds of things that they're doing. And it just makes sense to do them this way, because otherwise you may as well go back into captive world.
Everything you guys advertise, the support, the technology, the ability to be able to utilize you guys as a resource.
Insurance Professionals is the aggregator unlike any other. You own your book of business 100%. You pay no sign-up fees, monthly fees, or exit fees. You have direct logins to the nation's top insurance companies. And you have the ability to quote and bind directly on the carrier's website. Insurance Professionals was built for insurance agents by insurance agents. Come see what makes us America's favorite aggregator at www.becomeaninsurancepro.com. Again, that's www.becomeaninsurancepro.com.
So, as I was bringing that up, let me know in the comments if you have ever heard the word funnel in regards to the marketing side. If you've ever heard, I'm not talking funnel cake. I'm not talking like, funnel in the kitchen. I'm talking about funnel for your business. So if you've ever heard that term, I've heard of funnels. I maybe don't know what it is. I maybe don't know how they work. I maybe haven't gotten the concept or anything. But if you've heard funnels, yeah, Russell Brunson, a king of funnels, absolutely, for ClickFunnels, literally in the name of his company, is excellent. If you know Russell Brunson at all, then you've definitely heard the word funnels. But really, this is something that I don't think it's talked a lot about in the insurance industry. That's why we want to cover it for you guys. It's just not really discussed, and they're very, very powerful. Doesn't mean they got to be complicated or crazy. And so we're excited to jump into it with you guys tonight. So if you're excited to hear more about funnels, right? Let's go in the comments as we hop in. And I like the new graphic, y'all. I haven't seen this before. This looks really good.
I'm always having fun with this stuff. All right. So David already mentioned it, but if you are not part of Marketing for Insurance Agents, definitely make sure that you hop on Facebook, you put it in the search bar. We'll also have a link at the end of this presentation where you guys can get all of the resources that we're going to talk about. So we're going to have a way for you to claim those resources, and this link will also be a part of it. But this Facebook group has over 26,000 insurance agents in it across the country. And so it is a hugely valuable resource. Not only do we host live training every single Monday, just like this one, we have tons of valuable trainings and case studies and interviews that we have done with our clients, really diving into their strategies of success that have worked well for them, implementing a lot of them, doubling their production inside of their insurance agencies within 3 to 4 months. So if that's something that you want, make sure that you check out Marketing for Insurance Agents on Facebook. If you're not already a part of the group, I think I saw a lot of people that actually weren't part of the group. So like I said, we'll also have a way for you guys to get a link and an invite into the group after the call here.
If you want a double production, write 2X in the comments. I love to see it. That's what we're all about, is doubling. So go ahead and drop that. So with that, let's hop in.
All right, so we are going to be covering 3 points today, and we're going to be talking about the basics of marketing funnels. I know this probably language might be new to a lot of you on the call, which is totally fine. You will find out that funnels are a lot more simple than a lot of digital marketers really make them to be. So we're going to actually talk about 3 simple funnels that you can start implementing in your business today. And then we're also going to talk about how to maximize the results, some pitfalls that we typically see, and how to avoid them. All right, first up, we're going to talk about the basics of a funnel. So I honestly am not 100% sure. I do know why they call it a funnel. And the idea of a funnel is that it's very big at the top and it gets narrow as it goes down. But I do think that it's misleading because a funnel, really, the reason they say it's wide at the top and small at the bottom, because you're going from awareness, very broad, getting leads, and then guiding them through a process, which is a conversion to sale. But the reality is that it's a little bit opposite of like what you think of a funnel that would be like funneling water into a container, is that you're actually going to lose people along the way. And that's why it gets skinnier at the bottom. So I actually went back and forth on this for you guys of like, do I really show the illustration of a funnel? Because it's a little bit more like a highway or a road. You could be thinking about this as a road, and that people actually have choices of exits or directions that they're going to take. And through your marketing strategy, you actually want to guide them to you as the choice to do business with. So just because you have leads that are coming in at the top of the funnel does not mean that they will convert into a sale, but we want to do everything that we can to lead them to that sale. But it's wide at the top because you're going to have more leads coming in than you will sales at the bottom. It's a fairly simple principle, but just let me know in the comments if that's making sense. Just at a very high level there, it's wide at the top, smaller at the bottom, because you're going to have more leads come into the funnel than you will have sales that come out the bottom. Say yes if that's making sense. Okay, I see 100 from Haley. Love it. Okay, so now we're going to kind of break down just 4 simple phases here of a marketing funnel. Again, just thinking about this at a very high level. First up is awareness. So that's first off, just letting people know that you exist, that your products exist, and that you have a solution to a problem that they may have. That is awareness at the very, very top. And then the next part of the funnel is interest. So this is where the prospect starts to express interest and somehow potentially raise their hand or say that they are interested in learning more. So that's step 2. The third step is consideration. So this is going to be a step where they're actually deciding, is this a solution that I want to pursue? Is this right for me? And then the final step is actually converting into a sale. So yes, ringing the bell for a sale. So these are your 4 steps in any marketing funnel. And we're going to talk about ways that you're probably already familiar with and how you can start thinking about them truly as marketing funnels, where you are driving prospects through a process that's ultimately leading them to a sale. David, is anything you want to add on this?
I think you nailed down the high level concept pretty well. So
awesome. All right. So now we're going to start talking about some basic funnels here. So we kind of went over high level what a funnel is. Now we're going to start looking at what this actually looks like in practice. And again, this is something that a lot of you on the line have probably already conceptually understand. David, anything that you want to say here on social media specifically as a funnel?
Yeah, I mean, social media is an absolutely amazing funnel for, or even organically for free, growing and scaling that pipeline and leading the sales there. And this is what is one of our specialties for sure. Is all we've helped agents and agencies double, triple just from social media organically with a funnel and funnels within social media. And so it's very powerful. You have a very big audience. Everybody has access to this. Everybody can leverage this. Doesn't really matter on your budget. And absolutely one of my favorite funnels for growing your sales and production. So I'm a big fan, and we have had people over and over and over again in all lines, captive and independent, use social media very much so for growing their business. So
love it, and it's so true. And so what I want to highlight here is really the simplicity of this. And so we have, our four steps: awareness, interest, and consideration. But what this actually plays out and looks like on social media is that a prospect will see a post on social media that you put out talking about your business or the benefits of a specific product that you sell, whether that's final expense, mortgage protection, home insurance, auto insurance, commercial business insurance, whatever it is. And when the prospect that is connected with you on social media sees that post, that's the first step of awareness. They now know that you offer a product, you offer a service, you offer a solution to a problem that they may have. And then the next step is interest. And so the way that this works on social media is that they might comment on one of your posts, or more likely, they will reach out to you in direct message and express interest in learning more. And then in the consideration phase, this is going to be more of that, actually having that appointment with somebody or doing a quote for them, but basically analyzing their needs, seeing where they're at and seeing if there's a good fit for them. And also they're going to be taking into consideration, is this a good fit for me? And then the next step, of course, is that, they accept the quote, they are good, and it converts into a sale. So very high level, very, 4 steps here. And we're going to break this down a little bit more and talk a little bit more about this. But very simply, you can see that this funnel on social media can basically operate fully on social media and a phone call. So this could happen just through, putting out posts on your own social media profile, having some, conversation in Facebook Messenger, and then jumping on a phone call to actually do that, or Zoom to do that appointment, get the information that's needed to provide the quote. And maybe even depending on what your products are, you might not even need to do that phone call or Zoom call. You could potentially do everything, either just over the phone or through text message, through Facebook Messenger, and then converting into a sale. So one of the things I really want to highlight here is how simple this is. Yeah, David.
That was really what I was going to say too, is that there's a common myth, I think, and especially people that have maybe been, like Russell Brunson was mentioned earlier in ClickFunnels, that funnel means it has to be a bunch of landing pages, there has to be a bunch of automation, it takes, hours, days, weeks to build them, that, there's all this stuff that goes in it, you got to pay and drive traffic to them, convert it, and that it just ends up, oh, that's too complex or too difficult for me. In reality, what we're pointing out here is that that's not the case, and that funnels can be very, very, very simple. And in fact, that's actually even better because you can scale simple without them breaking and causing a bunch of headaches. And so that's why we're kind of clearing that myth that funnels are for everyone, and funnels don't have to be complex, but they're very powerful and can be used for your business.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Simpler the better. That's right, Tristan.
Yeah, the simpler the better. That is 100%. Okay, so we're also going to talk about lead vendors here because I don't think this is another common myth that I don't think that agents really realize when they are actually working leads. They are working their prospects through a funnel. So I'm going to keep this again kind of high level here, but it's very simply, as soon as you're talking to a lead, that awareness is built. Or if you're able to get in touch with them through text message or through email, as soon as you pop up on their radar, and that even could be, even if they haven't, I mean, not that they even have to pick up the phone or respond to your email or respond to your text message, because that's even more in the interest phase. As soon as they know that you exist, they have entered into your funnel. And then the next step is that you are getting a positive reply, that they are somehow expressing interest, and that you're moving that into either a set appointment or an opportunity to quote them. And then again, that consideration phase is going to be the appointment, conducting the appointment, doing the quote, and then the sale, becoming a customer. So again, even with lead vendors here, this is actually working them toward a sale, moving them through these different phases so that you can convert them. So that is the whole point of a funnel. David, do you want to say anything else about this before I move on?
No, I mean, just that, we kind of have it very simple here of the breakdown, but I mean, there's areas that go in as well. Like if we take consideration to becomes a customer, we all know not everybody converts off that first appointment or that first quote. And they may not show up at their next appointment. They may still need to push off to the future, ghost you. And so then there's other areas within a funnel that, we can discuss about and stuff as well, but like follow-ups. And the follow-up is a key portion that goes with consideration in between becoming a customer to allow you to pull more out at the end. Because the whole idea of this is that from what's coming in the top, that you're pulling out the most amount of sales at the bottom. And so what you're doing really well in the funnel and thinking about that allows you to pull the most sales, highest close rate, highest average premium out of the bottom. And so that's kind of in reality when we're looking at the funnel of what's happening there. So that's what I wanted to mention.
Love it. And everybody on the line here, let us know in the chat, is this making sense to you, this idea? And have you thought about your leads and working leads this way as a marketing funnel? Is this something that you've considered before as far as this process?
Yeah, really thinking about all the different areas that you're doing for your pipeline and treating it as funnels. Because a lot of agents, I think it's very one-off, like, let me talk to this person, let me go to this one event, let me try to do a post, let me do these things. And they don't think about it and do it in a systematized funnel. Instead, it's just a lot of one-off, which leads to inconsistent, unpredictable results, which a lot of agents struggle with.
Absolutely. All right, so last basic funnel that we're going to talk about here before we start moving into some do's and don'ts of funnels. And so cross-selling and referrals. So this is really starting to extend what we call the lifetime value of a customer. Lifetime value of a customer. I'm just going to repeat that one more time. So if this is not something that you're thinking about and you have an existing book of business, highly encourage you to start thinking about how you can potentially cross-sell your existing book or get referrals from your existing book of business. Because we've talked about this pretty extensively in some of our other trainings, which of course we're happy to send to anybody that's on the line. But essentially, if you generate one lead and you sell that one lead, that's great. You've likely, hopefully, recouped your investment on time and money that you've spent to create that lead. But how much better is it to be able to start getting referrals from that lead, to be able to cross-sell that lead additional products? And this is another type of funnel that you can start thinking about inside of your business. So again, this is still awareness, interest, and consideration and sale, but we're thinking about it in the ecosystem of an existing book of business. So the first step, awareness, is first letting the client know what exists. If you are able to, if you're multi-line and you're able to cross-sell, multiple lines of insurance, or even if you're just strictly PNC and you work with business owners, but talking to that business owner about their personal lines, you have to first let the client know additional ways that you can help them. And I'll say this is one of the biggest things that we see clients that we work with have areas of opportunity. They're really not thinking about or pursuing opportunities to even let their existing book of business know how they can help them further. Fill the caps. Yes, exactly, Will. So awareness, and then again, interest. Then the client is interested to know more, discuss those details. And then consideration is going to be answering any questions, again, going through either that appointment or quoting process for those additional products, needs analysis, all of that. And then either the sale is either that they're sending a referral or they're buying additional products. So I know I just kind of gave the analogy for cross-selling, but the same thing goes for referrals. So many people don't have a system in place for truly asking for those referrals, and creating really a pipeline, if you will, around building a referral system and a referral process. And it's the same thing. A lot of times people aren't just going to give referrals. There needs to be something that prompts them to do that. And so you can think about that as a marketing funnel as well.
So one thing I want to mention, and why this is one of my favorite funnels, not to get all Inception on everybody, but this ends up as a funnel into a funnel. I know, right? It's like, a dream within a dream, wherever. But this is so powerful. We talk about this all the time, like in Closure Quick is the happy client generator forever. But cross sells and referrals, once you have existing clients, is so powerful in the fact that if you do this right, it funnels new prospects and leads and referrals into the front of your pipelines to then also come in as new customers, which then funnel more referrals and leads coming back into your pipeline. So this is how you almost end up with a self-feeding pipeline off of your existing clients when you do this really well. And that's why this is such a huge area of opportunity. These other pipelines, they funnel into a customer, but this one's nice because it funnels back into your initial pipelines and feeding you additional customers. And so this is how people, once they're growing and have customers and do this very well, can almost exist just off of their current clients and referrals. Of course, they can utilize other pipelines to keep growing and grow faster, but this feeds them customers to where even if they didn't do any marketing or really anything, they would still have customers coming in off of referrals and cross sells, increasing revenue there just off of this. So that's why this is so great and so awesome and not something to leave untapped.
All right. Love it. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit here about rubber meets the road funnel.
X.
And feel free to keep asking your questions. We're collecting those and we'll have a time for Q&A here very shortly. Okay, so this is where we see marketing funnels gone wrong, whether or not agents know that they're implementing a marketing funnel or not. This is where we really see issues arise and how funnels will kind of break down and not work as they're intended. So the first is stopping at the awareness phase. So we see this happen a lot on social media, where agents will start talking about their products or how they can help people on social media. but they're just kind of leaving it there and they're not actually prompting the next step. And this is something that's super important with funnels, is that you are in control of them. You are crafting that experience for a lead to become a client. And you're doing so strategically. And the same is true on social media. So if you are not including a clear next step for the prospect to take after they've consumed, whether it's a video that you've put out or a written piece of content on social media, you're not letting them know what the next step is to express interest. You're creating a really big hole inside of your funnel. Instead of, funnel's going to be a little bit leaky anyway. You're going to lose leads in the process and prospects through the process. But we want to do our very, very best to try to get as many of those prospects all the way through the funnel and converting them into a sale. So that leads me into the next point, is that usually there is no next steps or call to actions provided. So whether that's on social media or it's potentially working leads, a lot of times we'll see things where either through scripting or even just a lack really of follow-up through multiple forms of contact. So we talk about that a lot in the working leads process. It's not just picking up the phone and dialing. It's also going to be implementing things like your text messages, your emails, and ringless voicemail using an automation system. And then being very clear on what the next step is for them, whether that's through social media or asking for a referral or cross-selling somebody. A lot of times we lose people simply because they're confused and they don't really know what that next step is. And then creating too much friction. This we see all the time. I'm a really, really big believer in keeping people where they're at. So whatever platform your people, your prospects are engaging with you on, if that's on social media, if it's on Facebook, if it's on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or wherever you're having that conversation with somebody, if it's somebody that's texting you back and forth or emailing you back and forth, don't send them away from that platform to either book a call, for example. That creates a lot of friction for them, especially when they're in those early awareness stages. So that's something that we see a lot on social media, for example, is somebody, they'll put out a post and their call to action will be to book a call, and they're sending people away from that social media platform to another page, a web page, and then asking the prospect to look at their calendar, find out a time that's good for them, instead of just having that conversation through direct message on that social media platform and making it very easy for the prospect to engage with you and really guiding them through those next steps. David, anything you want to say on that as far as that idea of creating friction?
No, I mean, just think about this yourselves when you need to do something or want to do something. The easier it is, the more likely you are to do it. I mean, if it involves a bunch of steps and you having to think a lot, you're not going to do it, or it's much less likely that you're going to do it, or you're going to take forever to take action on that. And it's the exact same with your prospects. One of the greatest things you can do to be very good at marketing for your insurance business and bringing in prospects and referrals is putting yourself in your prospects' shoes and in their minds, thinking like them. We all think like insurance agents and how we want them to behave and act and what we want them to do. Oh, it's easier for me to send them somewhere to a link to book a time on my calendar or whatever, because that's easier for me. But that's more difficult and more work for the prospect. So you end up with less results. And this is where agents are like, well, why didn't anybody go through and click the link? It's so simple. It's right there. It's you're putting the friction on the prospect to go through multiple steps and take multiple action. This is why simple scales better than complex. if I take them, from this landing page to this survey, which then puts them in this landing page, which then if they go through that, they can then book a time on my calendar. You will end up with almost nobody, if anybody, making it through that type of funnel or that type of system. That's why you want to keep it simple. You want to make it dumb, simple, easy for a prospect to take action to get your help. And that's how you get sales. And so, like Elle said too, highlighting very much so is not moving them off that platform. If they're chatting with you in Facebook Messenger, and now you're like, now go to this landing page and do this link and book this thing, wherever with me, that's much more difficult than like, hey, you got a second or two? What's your number? Let me give you a call and I can help you out. Versus, and then we're talking with them right then and there. So make it simple and don't and put yourself ultimately in all areas of marketing. Put yourself in the prospect's shoes. That goes with your language that you're using, your copy. It goes with imagery. That goes with where you're going to connect with them, like Elle said, of where they're hanging out, where they engage. Like if your market is a bunch of Gen Z and younger and stuff, Facebook may not be the market for them. They tend not to hang out on Facebook too much, but TikTok or something like that would be. And so this is where knowing your audience, your market, target audience, we talk about this all the time because it's so critical, but it all ties into everything together. So let me know if that makes sense. Less friction, the better. The easier it is for a prospect to get your help, the better. If that makes sense, just write yes down in the comments and let me know.
Absolutely. And I think this is so important to internalize as a key marketing concept. So the easier that you can make it for somebody to do business with you, just as David said, the more results that you will have, the more people that will make it to the bottom of the funnel. So that's not to say there's not a time and a place to start using a booking calendar link or landing pages, but that's typically when you're starting to deal with a lot of volume, and you really do need the help of automation at that point to be able to collect those leads. And sometimes when you start getting into volume, you almost want to use friction as a way to start qualifying people out. So that becomes something of, you do want to actually put some steps in place so that it makes it a little bit harder for people to get on your calendar if you're finding that you have a lot of leads and that you're looking to add some more qualification in. So that's something that we actually work with a lot with our clients on, and kind of helping them implement that landing page step or that booking calendar step when they've got the volume of leads coming in. Because especially on social media, once these leads start rolling in, then you do need a system in place to start working them. But typically we find too much friction. So always be thinking about how you can alleviate that. Even if you are sending them to a landing page. And then finally, not enough activity or consistency. This is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually am going to demonstrate this on the social media funnel, for example. So we see this a lot, and we understand, this, of course, but a lot of times when people are first starting to market, especially on social media, they're a little bit more reserved with how much content they're putting out, how much activity they're doing on social media. And what that does is it just creates a small little trickle of prospects in the awareness phase. And what happens is that there's just not enough flow. There's not enough volume, and there's not enough activity to really create leads that are going to make it all the way through the process. Because with anything in marketing and sales, you're going to have prospects that don't make it all the way through. And you have to have enough volume at the top of the funnel in order to bring in sales. So that is one of the main things that we see as an issue of just not having enough activity, especially on the social media side of things, of not generating enough conversations really from social media to bring people all the way through to a sale. So this is what the alternative of this looks like. You see a lot of happy faces here, but at the very, very top, we're generating enough content, enough conversations that we're able to start moving prospects through these phases. And you can see at each phase, you might only have 50% of people that convert into the next phase. But that's okay because you have enough activity and volume up here so that you're pulling out sales at the bottom of the funnel. Anything you wanted to add on that, David, before we move on?
No, I think you nailed it.
Awesome. So winning with funnels. Talked a lot about this already, but this is a really good recap here. Keep them simple. We've talked about 3 really simple funnels that you can start to implement through social media. If you're purchasing vendors, definitely cross-selling and asking for those referrals. And then you want to make sure that you're sticking to repeatable processes. So that's a really big part of marketing funnels. And again, it goes back to that activity and consistency. A lot of times people that, we see this a lot, kind of get shiny object syndrome and will go after, like social media is a good example, like different social media platforms, instead of sticking to one social media platform and really working the system over and over again so that they are consistent and they are getting the volume of leads and prospects coming in at the top of the funnel. So they really are bringing in the sales all the way through the funnel. So keeping it simple, keeping it repeatable, those are going to be things that help you really stay consistent with your marketing funnels, no matter what they are. And then you want to give yourself enough shots. You want to be able to, you want to have enough opportunity coming through the funnel so that you can properly work each prospect through the steps. If you don't have enough shots to begin with, then you're just going to have a very, very small trickle of sales that are going to come through the bottom of the funnel. And then I cannot stress this last point enough. Track your results. Even if it's just like pen and paper, but track what you're putting in at the top of the funnel through your activity. And then as best as you can, quantify through each phase of the funnel. So give it a metric. Let's see, actually, here, if I can go back. So like if on social media, your activity is that, you're posting on social media and you're connecting with people on social media, track that activity. And then based off of that activity, track how many people are starting to raise their hand through reaching out to you in direct message or commenting on your post. And then from there, track how many quotes you get from social media. And then, of course, how many sales. So you're starting to establish metrics and how much activity has to happen here at the top of the funnel to actually start producing the sales and the result. All right. Let me know in the chat if that's making sense.
Is it clicking? And I did want to highlight, so we talked about not making things complex and keeping them simple. But I do want to also qualify that there is such a thing as too simple. So if your post is literally, come get an insurance quote from me, and that's what you're posting to try to get people on calls and then sell them, like that is too simple. And this brings up a concept of at what stage are your prospects in the buying process. And if it's cold and they're not warm, nurtured, trusting you, know who you are, and you've built authority with them, that sort of stuff, that come get a quote from me is not going to work. And that's honestly why those posts almost never get any sort of results. People coming through is because that's being done mostly to cold audiences, people that don't have that trust, don't see you as an authority, don't have it warmed up, don't need to know what you do really until they see that post. Versus if it's a bottom of a funnel and you do have a funnel where you've nurtured them and let them up, and then you have something like, come to me for some help or review, now that's an okay time to have that, but that's because you've had a funnel of awareness and building up that trust with them to get to that point. So that's what we're mentioning here. And so I did want to highlight that because I do think that I see that often, and I wanted
That's
to
a good
point that
point.
out.
That's
So-
a good point. And so, yes, so we don't want to be taking our action of going straight to quote when people don't even really know what the solution is that we offer. Because it's like we talk about marketing a lot, like dating. That's like asking somebody to marry you on the first date, or even maybe while you're still on Tinder, you know, coordinating.
Stranger Things, you know.
But you know, this is a process. There's psychology that happens behind here. And again, it is very much thinking about the journey that the prospect is on, and at the points where it matters, guiding them through and asking for the next step. So really good there, David. Okay, guys, this is your last chance to get questions in here. We're going to talk about a couple of our client examples. I believe I've got these case studies for you all in the resources here. I'm going to show you guys how you can grab those here in just a second. But these are two clients of ours that have actually both utilized video to significantly increase production, consistently get appointments on the calendar. Olivia Appleberry is on TikTok talking about IULs and life insurance, and she's generating 20 plus life appointments per week that are showing up on her calendar to talk to her about IULs specifically. So these are inbound leads that are coming to her, booking directly on her calendar. She's an example of somebody that had so much volume that she did need to start having them book time on her calendar. And Christy Schultz, she's a PNC producer and does daily videos on Facebook. And so both of these clients have really utilized the social media funnel. And it's not anything that is, you know, really fancy or anything like that, but they are consistently showing up for their audiences, being strategic about who they're connecting with on social media and putting out valuable content to their audiences and letting them know what the next step is for them to work together. I know Christy now has started to just include a link on her videos where people can go ahead and start the quoting process and upload their deck pages directly through her videos, because she's now getting so many leads through her videos, and she's letting them know what that process looks like on the video itself, while educating her audience on, she does personal lines specifically. Home and auto insurance is a lot of the education that she's doing. So both of these really great examples. We've got these case studies that are inside of the Facebook group, and we're going to show you guys how you can grab those. David, anything you want to add about Olivia and Christy and their social media funnels?
No, just excellent examples of how you can build and scale using social, which, you know, they're not even paying for. This is just organic, free methods that they're putting in place. And Christy actually has hit now 50,000 plus in production a month using the social there. So yeah, I mean, it's a good examples.
Love it. All right. So if you're interested in learning more about working with us, like Christy and Olivia have done to actually implement these strategies inside of your insurance business, we work with clients in a program called the Closers Click. This is really geared at helping insurance agents and agency owners add an additional $10,000 in commissions over the next 4 months using these marketing strategies that we're talking about, not just social media, but also working with lead vendors, also adding cross-selling and these, you know, referrals into your business. We call it the Happy Client Generator. And this is what we specialize in helping our clients with. So if you want to learn more about that, if you'd like to learn more about working with us, or if you just want to snag the resources from this training, I've got a QR code here for you to scan. And if you can just hold your phone up to it, it'll scan and take you right to the page there where you can enter in your information, download all of those resources. They'll be sent via email to you as well as SMS. Or if you want to learn more about, like I said, working with us, you can enter in your information there. I think if I can get out of this, I will show you. Yep, this is what the page looks like here. So you just click this button. Yes, send me the resources. Enter in your name, email address, and your phone number, and a good email and phone number for us so that we can make sure that we can send those resources over to you. We've got Christy's case study on how she's doing 40,000 in production, well, 50,000 now from video, as well as how Olivia is booking 20 plus life appointments a week using social media. And we may also include the slides to this presentation as well, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. Write yes in the comments if you guys would like the slides from this presentation, and I'll include them for you in that email and SMS after you enter in your information here. Love it. Seeing a few guesses. All right.
Yeah, make sure to grab those resources for sure. Those trainings we did with Olivia and Christy are straight fire, and you should definitely check those out and hear what they're doing, as both of those are great examples, as they were brand new agents when they came into the Closers Clique. These are not established agents who had done sales, had books of business, anything. Now we have those as well, but those are excellent examples of someone who hadn't even really, Christy didn't even have social media coming in. So good examples there for you guys to check out. So is it question time? Q&A time?
Yep, it's Q&A time. If you answered yes in the chat, please make sure to go fill out your information so that I know where to send this to you. Unfortunately, this is the only thing about doing these webinars on Zoom instead of Facebook. I don't have a good way to connect with you afterwards if you don't fill out your information for me. So do that and let us know how we can get in touch with you after this, and we will be sure to follow up with all of the resources.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that, Tim. Appreciate everybody here as well. So we're going to answer some questions. Stick around with us. I promise these questions, I've already seen them. They look pretty good. So we get some good answers for you there. And last chance, if you got one or two more you want to drop there, go for it. Otherwise, we're going to answer these questions for you. So I'll go through the order we got them in here. A Wood was, I need to know what venue to start my funnel. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of options, and it's really picking one and going in on that. I would say it's much better to have one funnel that you're really focusing and doing stuff on than trying to create multiple. And with that, it depends a little bit on your audience and budget and a few things on what's probably going to be best. I love social media because you don't really have to have a budget for it. You already have access to a large audience there. It's very simple in ways you can use that for the funnel and growing there. It may take a little bit more time, doesn't necessarily have to, but a little bit more time to build and put stuff in place there. But I love social. There's so many ways that you can leverage that. But on the flip side, like lead vendors, for example, I mean, there's great ways to use that as a solid, consistent, and predictable funnel that you get a lot of data and metrics there. And it becomes really to the point where you can have an amazing funnel there of, I know I put this much money into leads and stuff there, and I know this much money comes out at the end of the day. And I know where I can tweak it in order to improve it, as well as I know if I put 5 times that much in, then I get 5 times that much out. So there's pros and cons to all of these. If you don't have customers or really a book of business yet, then yeah, you're probably not going to do the cross-selling and referrals funnel with your existing customers, because you got to get the customers in first before you can really leverage that one. So social or lead vendors, or a combination of both, are really the ones I'd recommend looking at initially. I wouldn't go into making stuff even more crazy and complicated by like trying to run your own ads and things like that require a lot of knowledge, specialty, and time. At the end of the day, you want to leverage your time and stuff too. So those are probably the two I'd mostly look at. And once again, it depends a little bit on your audience and some different things too. Elle, do you have anything to add on that one?
No, I think that was great.
Cool. Larry Shiplet, do you have a written course on this training? Closers Click is really where we focus on everything with this. And yes, we do have full curriculum and training, but we have live training and support that we're doing each week inside of there, as well as the private community and group and everything is a part of that, because stuff changes all the time, guys. Like social media changes, what the technologies out there, what audience is, what's going on there, the industry. And so I don't want to have something that gets outdated forever, right? Because I mean, even if you take something from like even a year ago, much less any older than a year, it's outdated, it's gone, it's done. And stuff moves so fast nowadays that you almost have to have live and real-time support and help, and something that can be constantly updated in order for it to stay relevant and working, versus something that gets phased out. I mean, it used to be, if you look at 10 plus years ago, like the same marketing stuff worked for a century. Like, you know, oh, I do a TV, I do a radio, I throw a billboard up, I throw a magazine. And for like 100 years, that stuff worked great. Now, granted, TV wasn't around 100 years, but still, like, you know, the same methods worked for very long periods of time, where nowadays stuff changes so quickly and fast that, you know, if I had done training on Clubhouse a year ago, or on, I don't know, did stuff on Zynga or MySpace or things like that, stuff phases out so quickly and stuff now that it's more something that can constantly be updated and focus on what works now. That's what you really want. And so that's why just a pure written course, I don't think is a really solid solution, because stuff changes so often. That's why live components are so important, in that any sort of curriculum is constantly updated. So anything for that one?
I think you got it.
I'll have to let you answer on this here. Peter Lamont, what about cross-selling with others not in the same lines? So, Peter, if I understand that question right, that is more about strategic referral partners, is what that's sounding like. If I didn't understand that right, let me know. But that's what it sounds like. And so, not necessarily, I mean, I guess it's cross-selling-ish if they're a part of your agency, and they're cross-selling a different line. But if they're outside of that, I'd refer to it more as strategic referral partner relationships, which we focus very heavily on as well. We didn't really talk about it super heavy tonight, but strategic referral relationships, another great funnel example and stuff as well. And that's really powerful. If you guys are doing different lines, there's a lot of synergy and power in having really strong strategic referral relationships. We very much encourage that. We see that happen very often and very successfully. And we do focus a lot on that. So that's a great idea, and it's excellent. And it's much easier to have a very strong referral partner for different lines than it is to try to learn and expand and do multiple lines at one period of time, especially if you're still trying to figure out that first line and grow and scale that by then going and adding the second one, if that makes sense. So hopefully that helps, Peter. And I saw you dropped another good question. We'll get that in a second. Cynthia Padoni, so what is said in interest phase? What about asking for referrals in email marketing? What language? How many times do ask? Okay, I'm gonna take that one at a time. So what is said in interest phase? Once again, I'm gonna bring this and put this back on you, like putting yourself in that prospect's shoes. What would interest a prospect with learning more about how you can help, about insurance, why that might be useful to them? That is the type of stuff that you would say in interest phase to spark interest. If it's something that can save them money, well, that's interesting to me. I want to save money. If it's something that gives me peace of mind, okay, I don't want to stress about things, especially things out of my control. If it's something that protects finances, wealth, the legacy, well, that's important too. Like, I don't want to work and then have everything disappear or not be prepared for the future or prepared for my family. If it's something that, is, I don't want to miss out on these key things or changes or be left behind or at risk and things like that. These are the types of things that spark interest. You want to gain interest so they can start paying attention in the awareness phase. So hopefully that makes sense on the interest side. Is we really focus a lot on interest area and being educational. Also with a mix of entertaining a little bit as well and stuff that gets people paying attention. If you talk about insurance all day long, no one's going to pay attention to your stuff. I'm sorry. The average prospect does not find insurance very interesting. They're going to be on TikTok and go watch videos instead. And so that's where educational with those types of topics I was talking about is very powerful in the interest space, because they're learning something and why that's interesting to them and that benefit to them. And that's a great way to build authority, trust, and have them coming to you ultimately for that company. Oh, did I get that right? Anything?
Yeah. And one thing I'll add to that in that phase, you do want to start pulling out people that are essentially, I call it like raising their hands. Like they're not really sure yet, but their interest is piqued. And so it's really in between interest and consideration that you kind of want to start identifying people on who wants to take the next step. So some really easy things that you can do on your social media posts, for example, are things like write me if you want to learn more about X, Y, and Z, and make sure that you're tying it back to your post. And as David is saying, not just like write me if you want a free quote, like don't say that. But if what you're talking about is like maybe one of your products can help people get out of debt, or you're talking about how maybe it's something. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. We'll go with the get out of debt thing. And so the kind of call to action to start to get to people to raise their hands would be write me if you're interested in learning more about strategies to help you get out of debt, so that you're tying it back. And it's not even really related to an insurance product at that point. You're relating it to the benefit that somebody is going to get, which is a lot more appealing to them to take that next step than get a quote. Again, it's kind of starting to jump the gun a little bit as far as getting into more of that deeper into the funnel consideration stage, and more sales language, which at that point, there's going to be more sales resistance. So you don't want to start bringing that up in your marketing at that point.
Yeah, and a good thing too with interest and considerations too is once you give them the interest portion, you have the opportunity to stay in front of them, to nurture them until they get to that consideration stage. Because at any given time, in really any industry, but including the insurance industry, 10% of people are ready to buy at any given time. And so many of the insurance agents just search for that 10% at any given time. So it is just, let me call, let me reach out, let me speak to people. Are you ready to buy today, now, right now? No? Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna keep trying to find this 10%. It's everybody moving through stuff and just looking for that 10, as well as everybody else is looking for that 10 at the same time. But in reality, there's people that are ready later today, tomorrow, next week, next month. And that's where once you have an interest, you can keep that education, keep that authority, that trust that you're building and stuff there, so that as they enter into the stage of ready to buy, they're already there and then drop in and finish in the consideration and sale within your funnel. And that's why if you can get them to that stage in your funnel, you have this opportunity with them, whether it's today or next week. And that's what we talk about. The concept of funnels and pipelines is so powerful because it's not about just finding someone to buy today. It's about keeping that pipeline full of people ready to buy today, tomorrow, next week, next month. And this is how you really grow and scale your business versus just hunting down one a day, because you're going to be searching tomorrow for that one person again, maybe searching the next day for that one person again, and it's never ending. And so if you build up pipeline, you have that flow coming in without you even having to go look and work. Hopefully that makes sense. What about asking for referrals in email marketing? Absolutely, that's a part of like the cross sell referral portion with your clients. Is emails one way to stay in touch with them, to educate them, to nurture them, to ask for referrals, educate them about how you can also help them for cross sells, what other lines and stuff like that. So email marketing is great. The language is making them aware, educating them, and letting them know what to do for next steps if they want to learn more and want help. That's really what language comes down to within those stages. Exact language needs to fit more your brand and how you speak to your clients, which is different for everyone. And specific language around that, but simple is best. I mean, keep it simple. How many times do we ask? As many as necessary. like, don't hit your audience like 5 times a day asking for referrals. But I find more often than not, people do not ask enough, do not reach out and touch base with their clients enough, do not educate their clients enough, let them know what other opportunities there are and stuff. And so in reality, almost no agents are doing it too much. In reality, they're doing it not enough. So more times than you think would be how many times they do it. Clyde, do you have examples of marketing funnels? Well, you've already been through a couple tonight. So just for simple examples, like, if we really go funnel, like, the marketing for insurance agents groups, agents come in to learn, to educate, and then they are aware of what we do. We provide value, they learn, they trust with us, and when they're ready to grow and scale their business, they come to us and work with us. I mean, that's an example of a funnel right there. There's all kinds of funnels. Like another example of a funnel is agents are on social media making connections, and they say, hey, I'm doing a Facebook Live or a webinar on these 5 things to know about Medicare, for example. Who would like to come? And people say me, and they get invites and they come to the webinar. And then in the webinar, there's going for more information or how they can learn more or book an appointment, whatever that is. And they end up booking appointments and having appointments and stuff. So, I mean, really, those are some simple examples of funnels, but there's all kinds. I mean, in fact, and I challenge you all to think about it, because probably every single day you go through like 20 to 30 different funnels, whether that's even at a physical location. You come into a retail store, and everything in those retail stores are outlined, have been researched to know generally when someone comes in the door, they make a right and go right. And so all of that stuff is a funnel. Think of IKEA. IKEA is a perfect example. IKEA itself is a funnel. They are specifically driving you through that store, making you walk all over Tarnation to funnel you into seeing more products, more opportunities to buy. They don't want you leaving, so they retain you and nurture you more by having food there for you to buy, so you don't have to go outside for food, so you can then shop more and funnel more and spend more there. IKEA itself is a perfect example of a store that is a funnel. So hopefully that helps, because really funnels don't have to be complex. You experience them every single day. So, Elle, anything to add to that one? I had to mention IKEA because.
No, I think that was great.
Okay, we got a few more. Haley Miller, any good avenues for marketing on social media ideas? Yeah, I think we've covered a good bit, and then also, like I said, that's what we go really, really in depth with inside the Closers Click. Focus a lot on that, in addition to some other ones, but especially social media. And there's just a lot of opportunities there. Gloria Coleman, you help agents set up funnels. Yes, absolutely. As part of the Closers Click, we focus on all these ones we mentioned and more. Stuff within there as well. That's what we do. We help agents grow and scale their production and sales. Let's see. Peter, do you suggest multiple platforms on different social media platforms to attract a diverse customer base? I think some of the typing didn't come through clearly on that one. I've recently joined the industry after working as a broker in Connecticut. Okay. So over time and as you grow and scale, maybe yes to expand, but no at the beginning and as you're initially growing. It's better to stay focused and have a very targeted funnel and platform that you grow and scale and do very successfully before you move to others. You do not want to do what most agents do, is spray and pray, because that doesn't work. So most agents are like, oh, I'm going to go make a YouTube, I'm going to make a TikTok, I'm going to make an Instagram, I'm going to make Facebook. And then they end up not doing any well or any strategically. They get a post out every once in a while, or they just take the same post and put it everywhere. And they say, I hope people come in and buy from me. And that is it doesn't work, guys. I'm just gonna clarify. I'll save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, because that also you waste a ton of time and energy with it. It's not going to be the best bet. The best bet is find a single channel area, focus on it heavily, have it predictable, scalable, and then you can expand to additional ones as well. Also, I do want to challenge the diverse customer base as well. You do want to have a targeted audience, whether it's married couples with children that are homeowners and that are 35 to 45 within your state or something like that. Like, you want to have a targeted base that you're going after and focusing on. It makes everything more cohesive, tied together within your marketing, how you're talking, what you're talking about, everything. Then the also spray and pray method is everybody's my market. I can help everybody, and I want to get the most diverse group possible, which hurts you at the end of the day, and you actually end up not getting as many people because they don't feel that you understand them or can specially cater and experts in their particular situation. It's kind of the end of the day. If there's an insurance agent, it's like, hey, I can help everybody. And there's an insurance agent like, oh, I can help restaurant business owners save on their commercial insurance. Usually I generally save them $1,000 a year, and I know this industry inside and out. Well, if you're a restaurant owner, who you're going to go work with? You're going to go work with a person that specializes in restaurant owners and knows that in and out. So it's the same thing. You want to have a particular audience you go after. You don't want this to really focus on having a huge diverse audience, because in the day it's not going to generate you results, and it's going to make everything more complicated. Simple scales. And so when you have a simple target audience, that scales. So Elle, I know that's definitely your area as well.
That was perfect. You nailed it.
Okay. Peter, very interested in exploring working with us as well. Yeah, Peter, just fill it out and we'll get you some more info and dive in with you. We'd love the opportunity to work with you as well. Haley, can't live on hopium. I love it. So that's great. Thanks, Peter. Glad you put that. Yeah, we'll be touching base with you. So once again, if you want the resources from tonight, want to snag that, you want to learn more about Closers Click, anything like that, just use the QR code or the link. I was going to, I think, drop it one more time in chat for you guys, and would love to chat with you guys. Love to get you guys these resources. Like I said, we have a ton of these. We do these weekly. Put it on your calendar. Come join us on. We either do a Zoom webinar like this or on Facebook Lives, and hang out with us throughout the week inside the Facebook group. Marketing for Insurance Agents. There's always discussions going on there. Always people helping out, finding referral partners. We got a great team that we love to always help people out. So if you need anything, we can help you with anything, reach out to us. That's what we do. So we really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us. Hopefully this was a value add for you. Hopefully you guys got a good bit. I know this was kind of a high level overview of funnels. We promise we'll do some more trainings in and around this as well, but got to cover the basics before we can go into more. So really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night and evening, and look forward to seeing you.
Good night, everyone.